After talking with a couple of you, I noticed a similar issue among some of the people that reach out to me, and that is that no one talked to them about payment processors. And as a result, some of the people who are starting to get the hang of it, who are starting to sell in their dropshipping store, ultimately lost it because they got their payment accounts disabled and they had no cash flow, no way of paying the product, so they just called it a loss. This actually happened to me when I was just getting started. I watched videos on YouTube, I bought courses, and no one ever mentioned how strict and sensitive these payment processors really are. And when I encounter issues with them, I tried looking up for more information. Most of it was outdated and it didn't really help, but there's very little information on the subject. So I decided to find my own way around it, and after trial and error, I managed to find a way to use these payment processors even if you get your account blacklisted, which is the method that I use in the Payment Revive Kit. But not to get off topic, I just thought I'd make this video to let those of you who are just getting started know about these beforehand so that you don't have to run into this issue that issue like myself and many others did. Payment processors allow you to accept card payments through your store by charging the customer's card, and after the payment clears, the funds get released to your bank account. For example, when you purchase something on your website and you're entering your card information, that is the payment gateway that charges your card. Think about it as a digital register for your store. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Shopify offers plenty of payment processors that you can integrate with your store, but let's focus on the ones that I believe are the most useful to cover. This is where most of you are going to start off if you're dropshipping or if you open your website through Shopify. This is perfectly fine if you're a beginner and you haven't had any previous issues or any previous closed accounts with Shopify. And if you communicate well with your customers and they don't file chargebacks, this is all you'll ever need and you won't really need anything else. So that means that you don't have to worry as much about payment processors, but you're gonna have to still keep up to date with your customers. You're gonna have to be on top of your customer service so that they don't file chargebacks and you don't have to worry about these payment processors. If you're selling counterfeits, however, you will get your account shut down with the possibility of being blacklisted. Sometimes the shutdown happens right away, the same day. Sometimes it takes them 2 or 3 days. So your mileage may vary on that. You might go a week, 2 weeks without it, but as soon as they notice that you're violating the terms of services, they're gonna shut you down. If you get your account shut down due to fraud, chargebacks, or selling products that violate the terms of services, you won't be able to set up a new Shopify payments, but luckily you still have more options since Shopify does provide you with a huge selections of payment processors to implement in your store. However, if you get your account closed and they report you to match, which means that you're blacklisted and you won't be able to open any new accounts with most payment processors, you'll find it extremely difficult to set up a new account or to open any new payment processor's account. So your options would be to set up an account with someone else, so somebody else does it for you, use a high-risk merchant, or check the Payment Revive Kit, which will help you out. Oh, and by the way, they'll let you know if you've been blacklisted. Like they'll tell you, hey, you've been part of Match or you've been matched or whatnot. So yeah, they'll let you know by email if you're blacklisted. They don't just blacklist you and not tell you anything. Like I said, if you get your account closed and you weren't matched, you still have more options. There's Stripe, for example, which I would recommend right after getting shut down or getting your Shopify payment shut down. Just keep in mind that Stripe powers Shopify payments, so most of what I said for Shopify payments also applies to Stripe. So avoid selling prohibited products and keep your chargebacks to a minimum, and you should be fine with Stripe. This would be a great option for personal brands or for a store which you're able to deliver the products within 10 days. If it takes you longer, you know, you could still use it, but you're gonna have a harder time. Next up, we have Authorize.net. If you get banned from both Shopify and Stripe, you still have Authorize.net. They're a payment gateway that connects you to a payment processor, so they work a little bit different than Stripe or Shopify payments because what they do is they work as a middleman, so they only allow you to use their payment gateway. So basically the register is theirs, but who collects the money, so the bank, quote unquote, that collects your money, you could switch that. So the cash register, think about it this way, yeah, the cash register is theirs, but the bank that comes in and collects the money, they let you choose it. So you could easily switch the bank and yeah, just switch between banks and keep the same register. So this is a perfect way for those of you guys who get blacklisted. You could switch over to a high-risk merchant, even though I wouldn't recommend it, but you have the ability to switch from high-risk merchant to high-risk merchant or from normal merchants to high-risk and back and forth. So it's a really versatile, but I would not recommend it if you get blacklisted because the high-risk merchant processors, they're just worse because they take a higher fee, they charge you more per transaction, and the payouts are less frequent. For example, when I was looking into it, I believe they were charging me $500 just to set up, plus 6% for the transaction per transaction, and I was getting payouts, or the payouts were gonna be every other month. So it was pretty annoying. And instead, I would recommend you guys check out the Revive Kit if you don't wanna deal with high risk merchants, because like I said, they're gonna be a pain in the ass to deal with, especially if you're drop shipping. If you're not, then I mean, go for it, use them if they're your only option. So stay away from high-risk merchants unless it's your only option. I thought I should add this on here since I'm constantly getting asked about it. I personally don't use Amazon payments to dropship just because it doesn't work for me. But if you're not dropshipping, you shouldn't have an issue with Amazon payments. The reason why I don't recommend Amazon payments for people who are dropshipping is because the payouts are every 14 days. And you could do the payouts daily, but you're gonna be using something like Payability, and then they charge a percentage on top of what Amazon and on top of what Shopify charges you. And like I said, if you're drop shipping, this is not much of an option because every cent counts, or everything counts, especially if you're in a budget. Yeah, don't do this. Don't go with Amazon payments. Just stick with Stripe or Shopify payments. Amazon payments would be a good solution for you if you're blocked or locked out of Shopify payments and Stripe. And if you're private labeling or selling digital products or something where you're not ordering or where you're not drop shipping, because you know when you're drop shipping, you have to place the order with your supplier and then they ship it out to the customer. So somewhere where you don't have to do that, like private labeling, where you order in bulk and just have it ready somewhere and then just ship it out to the customer, that's where I would recommend using Amazon, or that's where you should use Amazon. But if you're drop shipping, especially in a budget, I don't recommend Amazon payments. And finally, we have PayPal. If you're drop shipping, I would highly suggest you stay the fuck away from PayPal, since they view it as a high risk. They view drop shipping as a high risk business. So they're gonna shut your account down and hold your money for 180 days. Now it might not be right away. It might take them a little bit for them to notice that you're drop shipping, or once your, not chargeback, but once your disputes start coming in after like a month or 2 months, they're gonna review your store. And if you're drop shipping, they're gonna lock you out of your account, keep the money for 180 days. So whatever's left in your PayPal account, they're gonna lock that up. And yeah, you're basically shit out of luck. So I would not recommend that you use PayPal for dropshipping. But if it's too late for you and you've already made the mistake of using PayPal as your main account or to process your payments, then you can check out the Revive Kit. I'll show you how to set up a new PayPal. By the way, I would not recommend that this new PayPal you set up with my kit, that you use that PayPal to accept orders. That should just be used for your personal things, or just for, you know, making personal transactions and whatnot. Do not use PayPal for dropshipping. But if you could deliver the products within 7 days, or you're selling digital products, by all means use PayPal. Just don't use it for dropshipping. I cannot stress that enough, because I constantly see people getting their PayPal account shut down. So that pretty much does it for today's video. If you have any question regarding payment processors, feel free to ask or send me a message on Instagram. I'll also be creating more videos on this topic. So if that's something that you are interested in, or if this is something that you want me to cover more, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one.